have the lifelink happen.
And Jan
so
wins the
Jan
match.
wins his match.
I believe that is all the action on the floor. I think we are getting ready to render our supreme verdict here.
All right, so the judges are going to be getting ready here in a minute, and we're going to be bringing them actually into the booth here, where they're going to be, like you said, supreme verdict indeed. They're going to be bringing down their judgments, and it's going to be harsh. It could get really ugly here today.
Well,
I mean, like I said, I happened to just peek over, and I saw a bunch of zeros. I mean, if you didn't stick to the flavor, if you weren't bold, and if you didn't really go for it, you're going to get a bad grade here.
Right.
And it's going to affect your
You can build
score.
a great deck, and you can get those points at the table.
Yeah.
But you're not going to get those points in judgment.
Yeah, if it were me, I would be pure flavor and then just hope to win a match. Because you can control that first part, right?
Right.
I mean, a gamer's going to game, and I know that's what I would be doing, BDM. But we will see shortly from the Loading Ready Run guys and the Wizard from Walking the Plains who indeed succeeded at creating the best possible meal and who did not.
Right. Who most flavorfully, boldly, and adherently created their decks using Goblin Test Pilot.
Which is the best one.
Conjured Currency. Angelic Accord.
Yeah, Strionic Resonator.
So here we get a look. Here you get a look at the Iron Chef ingredients that people had to work with. Goblin Test Pilot, Angelic Accord, Feed the Pack, Conjured Currency, and Strionic Resonator. And again, players are going to be judged on their boldness in choosing these ingredients, their creativity when building their decks, and their adherence to the theme ingredient. So this can be worth up to 3 points from each judge for each deck. So that's potentially 9 points that could be won in the deck building portion. And again, they only had 1/2 hour to build their decks. 1/2 hour. There you see the ingredients again: the Goblin Test Pilot, the Conjured Currency, the Angelic Accord, the Strionic Resonator, and Feed the Pack. And again, players had to use 2 of these ingredients and pair them flavorfully, boldly, and somehow adherently to the ingredients. So this was a real challenge with only a 1/2 hour to work for this challenge. Are we ready to render the supreme verdict in this challenge? Panel, we have us today to judge James Turner, Graham Stark, and the Wizard, who will not be named. Gentlemen,
good evening.
Tell us what you saw during the judging portion here.
We saw a lot of creativity. We saw a lot of bold choices.
Indeed.
A lot of thematic adherence to the themes of the ingredients. And we saw some cutting of corners.
Playing it safe.
We saw some playing it safe. We saw some reasons to stay alive to play the combo. I heard that a lot. We were less impressed by those decks, to put it nicely.
I think the Wizards team might have had a slight edge overall, being less informed about what decks are currently good in Standard.
Indeed, it seemed that Wizards of the Coast embraced their strengths, which is having designed less powerful cards and having played with them, perhaps in research and development. The community team is probably more familiar with the powerful spells, the tip of the iceberg, the cream of the crop, and then when presented with these more apocryphal spells in the libraries of Magic, we're perhaps less prepared to know what to do with them. That said, we did see a lot of flavor hits on the community side, and we saw some misses on the Wizards side as well, so it wasn't as lopsided as we might be making it out to seem. So,
did you see anybody who achieved both a high score in flavor and boldness and a high score at the feature match area?
Absolutely. I
We
think
did. We
that the paragon example of this was Mr. Michael Jacob.
Who we will get to.
We will get to him.
momentarily.
I guess, are we going through these one by
Yes,
one?
we'll be.
That Michael Jacob is probably not the likeliest suspect.
Nope.
With flavor
We will-
challenge.
We will fully admit we had the lowest of
had the
expectations
lowest
going in.
But we're going to begin with the Wizards team and a deck that actually did not impress us hugely from the Wizards team, that of Sam's deck here. Sam
Mr.
was
Stoddard.
the Angelic Accord Strionic Resonator deck. He achieved 6 match points, and from the judges, only 3 flavor points across the 3 of us from a possible 9.
Right, and I had some questions for Mr. Stoddard. Why 3 copies of the spell Lingering Souls? There's nothing angelic about it. There's nothing life-gainy about it. There are no triggered abilities. Why he would have included such a spell, and his answer?
Again, it all had to do with the flavor and the story of the Bog Brew Witch, who is a very dear friend of yours, I know. And
All right, I'm going to interrupt you right there. The Bog Brew Witch, also not angelic. There is an activated ability, I believe, not a triggered ability. So you're linking one weak part of your deck to another weak part of your deck.
I would also argue not an ingredient on the challenge.
Also not an
but
ingredient.
the newts, they have triggered abilities, and everyone loves newts.
All right, so we played 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon to get there. But we did not have a great score for Mr. Stoddard. What was our overall score?
It was 3.
3 flavor points between the 3 of us. So I actually gave you 2 because you gave me a nice explanation, very creative. But Graham and James here were less forgiving. So he would be an example of a less than savory deck. Moving on to the cream of the crop at Wizards of the Coast, staying there. Next up the chain, I believe, Mr. Aaron Forsyth.
Who did not win a match.
He had 0.
To be fair, Aaron has not done a lot of winning for the Wizards team this weekend.
Yeah.
But he did, however, receive 7 flavor points
7
from the
flavor
3 of us. I think, yes, indeed, applause. I think what impressed us the most was his explanation of, now that you have the conjured currency, what do you do with the conjured currency? Well, you spend it at the trading post, or the Tin Street Market, or you take your stolen goods to the Nephalia smuggler. You buy some songbirds from someone who sells them. There was actually a surprising amount of flavor in the one-ofs of his deck.
Not a lot of power, but
No. As shown by his match points.
we give him much credit for the flavor. Moving on to the cream of the Wizards of the Coast crop, the highest score on the team was Mr. Mike Turian. He received the full 9 flavor points. And
This was his Goblin Test Pilot deck.
That's right. Goblin Test Pilot, perhaps the most difficult ingredient. It's like being given sea urchin at one of these cooking shows, or some such apocryphal ingredient. Now, I normally wouldn't judge the flavor based on in-game performance. We're looking at just the recipe. However, I have to take note that Rawls Eric, who is a red-blue planeswalker, Goblin Test Pilot, a red-blue creature, Rawls Eric also features a coin-flipping ultimate, something that when Mr. Rawls Eric made his debut in the multiverse, the Twitterverse simply laughed, said it would never happen, an impossible dream, full of, I don't know, too much ambition. However, multiple times, I believe, 5 coins were flipped 4 times,
Wow.
2 of which I witnessed. An incredible feat, and sticking to a part of the thematic flavor that I wasn't expecting, the coin flipping part of it.
With Volatile Rig, Tavern Swindler. What else did he have?
Molten Birth.
Molten Birth, a Civilized Scholar, which is a flipping card.
Ah, yes.
Very, very good.
Yes,
Indeed.
the concept of flipping exceeded those of coins. So,
And Volatile Rig, by the way, is a vehicle for the Goblin Test Pilot.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Ways to pile on the damage, and a lot of damage was done. Some of it's very self-injurious. But we gave him mucho flavor points for that. Now we move on to the community team. Yes, we're sad to say that the worst Magic player in the building this morning was Reed Duke.
Three match points.
So he did manage to win a match. He received
Zero
zero
flavor points.
for awkwardly ramming 4 Feed the Pack into a junk reanimator deck.
Right.
Something that we did when going through was, let's cross off the ingredient and see what this deck does. And your deck still is quite the deck without the Feed the Pack.
Yeah, it's a common tawdry thing, a sort of pre-packaged piece of junk that I think you could buy in any store. You could copy this recipe off of the internet. I believe you could Google search such a deck and it would be a top result. This is not the kind of creativity we were looking for in this challenge.
So mulching and grizzly salvaging away the secret ingredient does not feel very flavorful to you?
Absolutely not.
You know, I'm a reanimating wizard. You know, what can I say? It feels bad to have reanimator on reanimator crime going on here. Yeah, we were disappointed. I know Mr. Duke is a played reanimator in a variety of formats, not the least of which is also Legacy. But I was disappointed to see him lean on an old familiar strength when more creativity could have been had. Moving on to some bright spots on the community team. Who do we have next?
Next up we have
Mr. Egashira.
Kenji Shara, who I was very pleased to see was handling the Goblin Test Pilot, and he was awarded 8 flavor points. Not quite as many as Mike Turian, but very, very solid.
Highlights from this deck included Hold the Gates, which was personally my favorite.
Because it moved his own test pilots out of range of their own damage, and the Crackling Perimeter. And what I like about that, what James and I both very much liked about that, was that in taking Hold the Gates and Crackling Perimeter and putting them into the deck, and then adding the gates to support it, he was actively making his mana base worse. Just to get there, and very much appreciated that. That's the kind of
self-sacrifice we wanted to see. We wanted to see you leave it all out on the battlefield. Well done, Mr. Egashir.
And he discovered a hitherto unknown combo. I'm fairly certain that Gisela and Crackling Perimeter are just unbeatable.
Yeah.
It just tap to shock. It's perfect.
And
yes.
I believe he took out 2 Planeswalkers with his Goblin Test Pilot.
With one test pilot in the same game.
One test pilot, I believe.
So to any of those who doubt the power of Goblin Test Pilot, know that it kills planeswalkers just like those lightning bolts and shocks that you've become so addicted to. So moving on to the absolute
cream of the crop.
Cream of the crop, in that not only did this person win 3 matches, earning 9 match points, also earned 9 flavor points for a total of 18 points.
Mr. Michael Jacob.
Mr. Michael Jacob.
Who... The judging panel confirmed, and we will admit we didn't think he had it in him.
Yep.
But we were very impressed with this deck. Everything synergizes beautifully with the Strionic Resonator.
That's right. Every creature, I believe, has a triggered ability. It's a nice little package there. Gate Creeper Vines, Borderland Rangers, Aurelia the War Leader, Acidic Slime, lots of the hits. And they all trigger, and we watched him. We made sure that he didn't sandbag his Strionic Resonators, you know, that he was playing them on turn 2 instead of a Farseek.
My favorite play, though, was that he was sandbagging other spells so that he could continually pass the turn, flip his own Huntmaster, and then copy the Huntmaster's ability as many times as he possibly could.
Ooh, to see those werewolves just munching, somehow with the power of what looks to me like a tuning fork that a music teacher in middle school would use. I don't know how it worked, but it did. It took us by surprise. We were delighted by the flavor. So well done, Mr. Jacob. So do you have any questions about any of your scores? I'm just kind of vamping to fill time now. Does anybody have any questions for the judges as to what we were looking for or anything like that?
No. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Delia. Mr. Delia. That's right. We didn't quite have enough time to talk about everybody, but we have a little bit of extra time. Mr. Delia made a Battle of Wits deck using all 5 of the key ingredients.
We don't have the deck list for you to see at home because there's not enough room on the slide.
I can barely see it on this piece of paper.
Here's a normal deck list.
Let's
go to the close-up shot here. If you can, there we go.
There we go.
Normal deck, Tom's deck.
Yeah. Needed to bust out my spectacles to read that one. We liked the boldness. Don't get us wrong. Battle of Wits is one of my favorite ingredients of all time. It's top 8 for me, cards, all time. Okay, that's not a lie. However, it was not one of the assigned ingredients. And we felt as though jamming the 5 ingredients into a Battle of Wits deck was subverting the purpose of the exercise. However, we did give you some points for boldness. Do we have Mr. Delia's score available? 2 points.
2 points.
So
absolutely.
Come over here.
We really did want to see.
You can both defend your deck and explain your hat. You have to defend both of them.
We were really hoping to see you use the Strionic Resonator on Battle of Wits to win a game twice.
That was
the dream, but it never quite got there.
That would have earned you an extra point.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, taking you up to 3.
So the idea behind the Battle of Wits deck was that is actually, for me, it was an evocative of this event. I feel really honored to be here, and this is a Battle of Wits between us and Wizards. So I felt the best way to really signify that was, as a Battle of Wits, was to actually use every single piece they gave us in this huge, challenging format to make a deck of 251 cards in 30 minutes, and just to show that we as a community are, well, we're at least better than Aaron Forsyth, let's be honest. And so for me, that was the idea behind building a Battle of Wits deck, was that that's what this Community Cup is. It's a Battle of Wits. And so if the name of the deck is the Community Cup deck, it's about the Community Cup. And for me, that was the flavor of it. It's got hints of every single deck we played. I made sure I went to every single deck to see what the little intricacies were, so that I can make sure to put it in the deck and just be the community team in a single deck. Now, I didn't get to live the dream as much as I wanted to. I would have loved to have been able to, but sometimes the draws aren't there. It is 251 cards after all.
Judging panel, are you buying this?
Are you a lawyer?
What? No. I'm a nursing student. There's a big difference.
Well, you play a good one on TV. No, I like the spirit of your argument. Please don't take it as a personal insult. It almost felt more like we were handcuffed, like we wanted to give you the points, but it would have been unfair to the other contestants for us to award you points when we felt as though the purpose of the exercise had been subverted a little bit. That said, I'll have a bottle of ale with you in the tavern anytime and throw down a Battle of Wits. I'm fond of you, but we had to skew negative for those reasons aforementioned.
Can you defend the hat now?
Oh, this is it's a gift from the people that I stream for, from the mod community. So if I don't wear it, I believe they're just going to spam Franker Z in chat the entire time. So I had to, this is my thinking cap, basically. Okay. And I also respectfully disagree. That deck is awesome.
Maybe awesome. It could be an awesome stew, but it's not an awesome piece of cooking, in my opinion. As someone who watches a lot of these shows, there's no way you'd get that to fly on Chopped or Iron Chef. So, thank you, Tom.
Happy to be here.
Is there anybody else who wanted to find out and defend their score? Yeah,
we could run through actually all the.
Garth, do we have that?
We have a slide for that, or? Oh.
Okay. So, Melissa DeTora with Angelica Cord, judge score 4. We loved the Newt Witch combo for gaining life for Angelica Cord. We found overall it was more of like a black-white tokens deck that you might find on the internet.
I really did appreciate that you were running the entire Bog Brew Witch Festering New Bubbling Cauldron combo, though.
Yeah, we were a big fan of the Blood Baron as well.
Okay, moving down to Jan van der Vecht. Did I say that correctly? He scored a 3. I believe I gave him a 2. You fellows scored much lower.
Really? Let me look that up.
Well, okay.
I don't have.
We don't have it. We're not sure if that's correct, but we'll double check. Kia Sala with the Goblin Test Pilot Feed the Pack deck, if I can say that. We scored him a 4 on flavor. There were some Thrag Tusks in there that kind of stuck out. made me wince, but there were some great synergies as well. Mr. Egashira, we already said, has an 8.
Matthew Watkins suffered the same problem that Reed Duke did, which is he put Conjured Currency into an Esper control deck.
And we gave him a 0 for it. I was hoping maybe Far and Away bouncing things was enough of a justification for a point, but they talked me out of it, so you can blame me.
How are we being made the bad guys here?
Hey, I'm
We're just humble
speaking the truth.
Canadians.
Yeah. Miss Jansen, 5 points for her Strionic Resonator Feed the Pack deck. A lot of powerful creatures. I would have liked to see more wolves. If you were just going to do wolves with powerful creatures, or powerful creatures for Feed the Pack, wanted to see more wolves. The Lambholt Champion, I believe, Lambholt Elder, is it?
Champion of Lambholt.
Champion of one of those Lambholts. Kind of, it's okay. I think there were other better uses of Feed the Pack, and we just couldn't justify a 3, given the more creative uses that we saw.
I was a fan, though, for the Strionic Resonator purposes, that every creature in the deck, which is 4 Borderland Ranger, 4 Champion of Lambholt, 4 Elvish Visionary, 4 Gyre Sage, 4 Colonian Hydra, and 4 Rubble Belt Raiders, all had triggered abilities that could be copied by the Resonator.
Yeah, and that's very nice. So, what was her score again? 5.
5.
So a decent score, very respectable. Mr. Humphreys, Angelic Accord Feed the Pack deck, scored 7 flavor points. The angel theme was everywhere in his deck, which we loved.
Seraph Sanctuary, Angel of Serenity, Angelic Skirmisher, Archangel of Thune, Emancipation Angel, Gold Knight Redeemer, Restoration Angel, Sarah Avatar, Sigarda, Entreat the Angels, even...
Yeah. Angels everywhere.
Angels everywhere.
Yeah.
Bonus points for Brindlebore.
And a Brindlebore. Angelic Edict as a slow 5-mana sorcery speed removal spell, just because it has the word angelic in the title.
That was in Ryan Spain's deck?
Right. Yes, I believe so.
Yeah.
That gets big flavor points for us, because you could have made an easier choice for a cheaper, more efficient removal spell. We like the sticking to the angel theme.
So Ryan,
Gold Knight Redeemer gains you life for Angelic Accord as well as an angel. So
that was you
there.
Jumped ahead to Ryan's deck there, which was also a 7. He was the one running the Angelic
Oh,
Accords.
sorry, I
Yeah.
got Mr. Humphreys and Mr. Spain mixed up there.
Both
Okay,
good
sorry,
Accord
apologize
decks.
for
They
that.
both went to time a couple times, so it's
Right.
understandable that you'd confuse them.
Right.
I also quite liked in Ryan Spain's deck, he was running 1 Geist of St. Trapt. Only 1, because he is legendary and there can be only 1, and he creates angels.
Yes. Very well done. Mr. Stoddard, we said, has a 3. Mr. Clinton, Strionic Resonator deck that was mono black zombies. Very interesting, difficult decision. We gave 6 flavor points. Now, every creature, I believe, had a triggered ability.
It did.
Yep.
So we loved that. And it had the zombie theme, and it also was not one of those standard internet decks or whatever. And had the very interesting triggered ability combo of Sanguine Bond and Exquisite Blood.
Yes.
Yes.
And even though that is an infinite combo, trigger it just for rub-ins to copy it anyway. That kind of stuff we love. So congratulations to all the competitors.
And there was one more deck there.
Okay.
Oh,
Sean
Gibbons.
Gibbons Feed the Pack deck, which
5
we gave
flavor points.
5 flavor points
Very
too.
respectable.
Very nice.
So we want to thank Wizards of the Coast and the community for allowing us to judge you. This has been an absolute pleasure. I want to thank you, Mr. Graham Stark, and Mr. James Turner,
Thanks,
for
sir.
your company.
Thrilled to be involved.
Yeah.
Absolutely.